All right, in this video, I want to take a look at how we can write the equation of a line when we are provided with 2 points that we know that line goes through. So in this case, we are not given the slope. We are not provided a graph. We could always graph these 2 points and find our slope that way, but that's just extra work that we don't need to do, because if we are given 2 points, then we're able to calculate the slope using our slope formula. Okay, so our slope formula right here is this equation m, right? M is still representing our slope. But what we're going to do is we're going to take the y values and subtract them, and then take the x values and subtract them, and then divide the result from y divided by the result from that x subtraction. And so the first thing that I do when I get 2 points like this is I label them. I want to go ahead and label this as my x1, y1, x2, y2. So my points are always x comma y, and then I'm labeling the 3, 2 with my subscripts of 1 and the 7, 10 with subscripts of 2 for no other reason than the 3, 2 came first and the 7, 10 was the second point that I saw. Okay, but I want to label them that way when I think back to this formula that I have highlighted in green here, I can plug those numbers in the correct spot. That's going to be very important for calculating the slope correctly. Okay, so my slope is going to be 10 minus 2 divided by 7 minus 3. Okay, and then if I had access to a calculator, I could take that entire fraction and type it in and have the calculator simplify it for me. Something to not overlook is we do always want to simplify our slope. It should always be a simplified number there. A lot of times slope will come out to be a fraction. It can also come out to be negative. It could, in theory, also be 0 or undefined. Those would be some special cases there. So most of the time, if our line is slanted, we should get some kind of positive number or a negative number. 0 would represent a slope of a line that's horizontal, perfectly flat, and an undefined slope would be perfectly vertical. Okay, so doing this without a calculator here, I'm just going to simplify that top. 10 minus 2 is 8, and 7 minus 3 is 4. 8 divided by 4 is 2. So my slope came out to be a positive 2. So if I'm going to graph my answer at the end, the result that I get, I should see that this line is going up from left to right. Okay. Now, we've discussed a couple of times in some other videos that in order to write the equation of a line, we need 2 things. We need slope and we need a solution to that line, or 1 point that falls on that line. And in this case, I was given 2 points at the beginning of the problem, so I'm just going to pick one of them. Again, me being lazy here, I'm taking that first point, 3, 2, because it was the first one that I saw. For no other reason than that, right? If I chose the 7, 10, I should get the same answer in the end. If you want to try it, go ahead and pick that one, and let's compare our answers in the end. Okay, so now I have my slope of 2. I have my starting point here, 3, 2, and I'm going to go ahead and label this again as my x1, y1. So because I have slope and a point, I'm going to look at that point and try to see if it's a y-intercept or not, because that's going to dictate what I do next. Because this x value here of the point that I'm using is 3 and not 0, this is not a y-intercept. And so what I'm going to do now is go to my point slope form, right? My point slope form of my line is provided here for us. I'm going to use that as my starting place. And then I'm just going to plug in everything I know. I can plug in my slope of 2 for m, right? So keeping this equal sign there in the middle, my slope of 2 from right here. And then I am going to keep the x and y without the subscripts, and I'm going to plug in that point 3, 2 for the x1 and y1. Now, first thing I notice here when I'm doing that is both of those x and y quantities are positive, and so my formula is y minus y1. Well, my y1 value is a positive 2, so that's going to give me a y minus from my formula, this minus coming from right there, but my y1 is a positive 2. And then this is x minus, again, that minus is coming from the formula itself. My x1 value was positive 3, and so I arrive there. Now, that right there, this right here, that line, is the equation of a line. It is just in the wrong form, right? So that is in point slope form, but my instructions tell me to get my answer in slope intercept form. So it's really important that you read the instructions to the problem you're working on, because that might save you some time and also make you get the correct answer. Because if it wanted it in point slope, I'd be done. Unfortunately, again, want to get this in slope intercept form, so I need to get that y by itself, and I'm going to do that in 2 steps. I'm going to start by distributing on the right-hand side here, so 2x minus 6. Again, when I distribute, I am taking that outside number and multiplying it to everything inside. The left side of my equation, or of my line here, is going to stay the same. And then the second thing and last thing I need to do is add this 2 to the other side, to the right-hand side here. That's going to give me y equals 2x minus 4. And I believe that is our correct answer. But I want a way of checking my answer, right? So let's think about what we were given. We were given 2 points at the beginning of the problem here. And the premise of this question is write the equation of a line in slope-intercept form. So we have that. That goes through those 2 points. So I can visually look at a graph now, and I can graph those 2 points, right? So I have my red point and my blue point there, and then I graphed my green line, which I can see here does in fact go through those 2 points. There is only one way that that will be the case, and that is if I have the right combination of slope and y-intercept. So my slope here is positive 2, and my y-intercept that we calculated is negative 4. And I can click there and verify that as well. But I also just visually can look at this and see that it goes through those 2 points. And so now I know I have written the correct equation of the line in slope-intercept form that goes through the 2 points provided to me.